Verse 12, while I was with them, I was keeping them in your name, which you have given me. And I guarded them, and not one of them perished, but the son of perdition, so that the scriptures would be fulfilled. Again, Judas. Always coming back to bring the contrast, to let it be known. Yeah, Judas isn't here, but that was part of the plan. He didn't surprise God. What do we see here in the distinctives of a true disciple? They spent time with Jesus. I ask you, how much time are you spending with Jesus? They've been kept by Jesus. Do you know the security that it is to be held in the hand of God, that nobody and nothing can take you out? I pray that you do. They're guarded by Jesus. He protected them from perishing. How many of you know what it has been to feel the saving, victorious, protective hand of God on you at different times? Notice that they are distinguished from the Judases. And I just want to encourage you, do not be afraid to hold the light of truth up against a Judas. You don't look to shame them, you look to draw them, but you are called to protect the others that a Judas will hurt. Jesus pointing out in the prayer. Yeah, no, there was the exception. It was him. It was part of the plan. Lastly, know that if you're a true disciple, you're a part of God's prophetic plan. Jesus is making it clear. Yep, the ones, we got them. Everything's going just as we planned. Verse 13, but now I come to you, and these things I speak in the world, so that they may have my joy made full in themselves. He's saying, I'm saying this out loud. I'm letting them hear me because I want them to have the joy of hearing and seeing this intimate relationship, Father. I want them not just to be able to get by. I want them to have joy. I want them to have the Jesus joy, and I want them to have it to the full. I want my people to be overflowing. Verse 14, I have given them your word. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Friends, true disciples, they will be hearers and holders of God's word. You need to know God's word. You need to have a want to feed on God's word, to be changed by God's word, to be strengthened by God's word. True disciples are hated by the world. I've asked you before, if you're not hated, why not? Might it be that you've learned to live comfortably in compromise in enemy territory? Now, are you to be hated every day, all day? Of course not. That would probably make you a bullhorn and somebody that's just obnoxious. But I'll tell you this, if you don't know what it is to be hated by the world, you have every bit as much reason for concern. He goes on and he says that holy, Christ-like, counter-cultural living will be the signature of the true disciple. And I ask you, are you living a holy, counter-cultural lifestyle so that God will be glorified and the world will be drawn to him? This is part of what he says are the distinctives in verse 14. Verse 15, I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but to keep them from the evil one. Friends, true disciples remain on mission in this world. You may not be of this world, but you are in this world on mission. Jesus has not asked that you and I be taken out of this cesspool. He asks that you and I be empowered to change this cesspool. I say it to us this way. You've not been called to avoid the battle. You've been called to advance the battle. You've been called to be a discipled warrior, to go in truth and love, not avoid the battle, but to advance the battle for the glory of our King.